Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Lexi, and today's video is going to be another review recap of Insecure on HBO. This episode was season 4, episode 2, Lowkey Distant. So first of all, thank you guys so much for all of the love and the comments on last week's episode review. I was really overwhelmed and really happy with you guys' response. And you're pretty much on the same page for the most part. I already have an Insecure review recap playlist from last season, and I've been adding these reviews as we go through them to that playlist as well. So I will leave that up in the cards and in the description box below. As always, comment along as you watch and let me know how you guys felt about this week's episode. So before we get into it, go ahead and subscribe and join the KandidKinks family. Give the video a thumbs up. I upload every single Wednesday and Sunday, and my Insecure reviews will be live on Mondays. So let's just jump right in. Okay, this episode was a little bit slow moving, a little bit chill. Not much happened in this episode, but it was a really good conversation starter and a good episode just to get more into what's happening with the characters and what we're seeing deeper past episode 1. So I ended my last review saying that I felt like Issa was kind of growing up and glowing up, and Molly just couldn't really take that. And I do feel like Molly does have some jealousy in her, but we're seeing more now in this episode that Issa is equally as negative towards Molly as Molly is towards her. Their dialogue just seems to be a little bit more harsh towards each other than they are towards other people, and that to me is just like kind of like a mirror of them needing to actually have a real conversation as opposed to throwing jabs every other week and not really like talking about when the other person hurt the other person. Because Molly can be more kind and say kinder things and be more understanding with other people like her coworker or Andrew. But when it comes to Issa, she's more so cut and dry and crass, and vice versa on Issa's part, which I know happens in friendships. You can be a lot more abrasive and aggressive with your friends, especially when you're your best friend that you've had forever. You can kind of be a little bit more like less politically correct, but a lot of times over time, those comments, those conversations can lead to resentment and attitudes, and you just being like, yo, I'm really tired of your shit. Like, you want to be happy? And that's not how we treat our friends. It's not how you want to treat your friends. So let's just go from the top of the episode and let y'all know what's going on, what I felt was going on, and let's talk about it. Okay, first off the bat, Issa and Condola's friendship still seems very genuine. It still seems pretty natural. It still seems normal, if you will. They seem to have clicked and have created a little bond. And it's kind of cool to watch, like a budding friendship or whatever. And then they talked about Lawrence. So in the awkwardness, Lawrence came up about her going on town with him, and you know, Issa made an awkward comment. They had an awkward exchange, and they kind of just like laughed it off, which I completely understand, which is very like relatable, just awkwardly getting through difficult conversations and trying to not push a button or seem pressed or upset the other person. But then Condola went and mentioned it to Lawrence. Now, personally, I would not have mentioned it to Lawrence. If I was Condola, I would not have said, oh, Issa told me that you used to run track, or I was laughing about your mayonnaise and french fries. Like, because that creates like a narrative that y'all are constantly talking about, dude, which is not the truth. And it's not the case. And she knew that the convo that she had with Issa about Lawrence was short-lived, and seemingly like meaningless, just for them to kind of clear the air. And it kind of made it awkward. And I understand why Lawrence felt the way that he felt about them being friends. Because, okay, y'all are cool. I'll take that in. Now you're talking about me? That's awkward. See, I don't really care for Lawrence. I don't hate Lawrence, but I'm just like, I don't really care for his storyline. So I'm not really too caring about him being uncomfortable and him wanting to talk to Issa and him wanting to clear the air. listen, like, I respect it. I get it. You want to say, like, look, don't talk about me because it's uncomfortable for me. Totally makes sense. I just don't really care for the whole Lawrence storyline, to be 100% honest with you guys. But I get why they're doing it. Different perspective, different topics, is cool or whatever. But I do think that Condola telling Lawrence that they discussed him, and then him coming to her in private and not wanting Condola to know, because it does seem a little bit weird. And now in the future, in true TV fashion, if she finds out that they met up or they've talked very briefly a few times, it could seem like some big secret. So it's kind of just like, if I was Issa, I would not want to be in this situation. Like, I would not want him coming to my house to chit chat about this. Like, if you don't want me and your girl talking, tell your girl. That's kind of like how I feel about it. But let me know what you guys thought about that whole weird triangle thing down below. The sex scene between Issa and TSA Bay was wild. Okay, it's like it gets more and more wild every week. And then we had the whole condom coming off situation, and I'm like, do we need the visuals? Did we need the condom on the mirror visuals? I didn't really need it, but it was a little comedic moment. But I was more just like, than I actually was laughing. The sex scene was funny, but I was like, y'all really, you're going there. You're taking it there. I respect it. Everybody's outfit, everybody looks so good. That's the one thing about the show. Like, people be looking good. They makeup be on point. They hair be on point. The lighting be on point. Like, this show shows black women of all different shades and all different sizes, and they just be looking so good in every single scene, and I so appreciate that. So let's get into Molly going to eat with Issa, and then Condola being there and leaving, and then Issa inviting Condola to sit and have lunch with them. So last week I was saying that Molly does seem to be becoming jealous of Issa and what's the name, friendship. And I do feel there's some level of jealousy there, but I can also relate to not wanting to have lunch with you and your friend. So like, if I'm meeting my best friend or a good friend of mine for drinks, food, whatever the case is, and we've made plans, because I'm pretty busy, most of my friends are all really busy. If we've made plans to meet up and it's supposed to be just you and I, yeah, I'm gonna be like, I don't really want to eat with you and so, if that's not my friend. If I plan to, vent to you or talk to you or, have a convo with you about my personal business, I can totally relate, because I'm that kind of like antisocial person where if I'm planning to meet my homegirl and I have a thing on my chest to get off my chest, I don't want your friend being there. Again, it makes Molly look a little bit like crazy, but I understand her sentiment in that I've been there before, and my friends know, like, see, can I bring so-and-so? I want to have da-da-da. And I'd be like, all right, or I ain't coming, I'm gonna stay home, I'm cool. Like, I'm not in the mood to talk to people that aren't my friends, because I am a person that I have to be in the mood to socialize with new people. So like, if we're best friends, if we're like siblings, if we're real close, then I could hang out with you anytime, any place. But if I'm having to meet new people and be, social with new people, it can be draining for me, because I'm a true introvert. So I don't really want like to mingle like that. So I can relate. I don't know what Molly's true feelings were, because obviously not, it's a TV show or whatever, but I understood the sentiment of like, damn, now I can't even get into my bag of what's on my heart, because now this girl is here. I'm actually curious to read your guys' comments about how you felt with Molly and Andrew and him being closed off and her kind of pressing it and then all that. Because at first I didn't really get the feeling that he was being closed off. It didn't really hit me like that. And then we get into, they went to dinner and he had a phone call with his work, and she kind of asked him like, oh, what's going on? You want to talk about it? And he just said no, he didn't want to talk about it. So I didn't really feel anything about that. Lots of people don't want to talk about annoying things when they're on a date or when they're out having fun. So I didn't really take it in that kind of way. So then she wants to have intimate dinner at the crib. He says fine. He go to their house. They have an intimate dinner, and they seem to be having a normal conversation with photos and like just chit chatting or whatever. He, like, you know, he gave information. He kind of tiptoed about his family, and then she pressed it about his sister. See, me, I'm not asking you about that because that's I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna ask you why not. I know there are people that are like that. I'm just not gonna be like, oh, so what happened to her? How come? And it was very uncomfortable because she asked him and he's just like, oh, I don't know what he said. Like, he kind of just brushed her off, and then she was like kind of pressed it a little bit more. And he was like, yo, people have layers, people have demons, people have problems. Like, it's only been a month from what they said. So my opinion, I do feel like he has the right to kind of keep some things to himself at the moment. What do you guys think? I can get her wanting to know more about him, but I do think there's a different way to go about that to get to know someone without overwhelming them or pressing them. But then at the end of the episode, he apologized and he called and XYZ because he probably does feel and know that he is a private person per se, and he doesn't want to push her away. But I do feel like he still had a right to not want to dive into his family problems. I don't think that I would be comfortable like divulging family problems to somebody that I've been dating for a month. Not that, yeah, I don't think that I would be, but everybody's different, so we're gonna leave it at that. Let me know what you guys think. I think you kind of have to give people space to feel comfortable with you. I think a part of getting to know someone and bonding with someone is letting them know that if you want to talk, you know what I'm saying, like, you totally can. And if you don't want to talk, it's totally fine too. I think making someone feel like they have to talk to you is a little bit much, in my opinion. But I understand some people just are impatient, and to her, she feels like an open book, and he's not being open book, which is life. You know, the time people just tend to either be one way or the other, or this way or that way, and what the hell can you do about it? I mean, you can try to get to know them and see how it goes, but I don't think I agree with the pressure she seemed to be applying to him. But again, he came back around like, sorry boo, I ain't mean to be like that. And she was like, all right, cool, I feel you. End of that. Okay, let's talk about the work situation. So Molly and her co-workers, they had already had some situations last season, and it's obviously carried over into this season. And Torian specifically don't really mess with her because she did some shady stuff in the past. So fast forward, she's trying to get on his good side, but I'm not the person. Like, if I was Torian, don't try to talk to me about travel and random stuff. I don't like you. So let's resolve that before we go any further. I'm not gonna have a convo with you about nothing but work. And that's how I get. So I feel him, like, don't talk to me about traveling and da-da-da-da, because you are shady. So then, you know, he addressed her like, yo, like, what are you doing? Because first she was being sneaky, shady, doing all kinds of stuff, and now you're in my ear, my friend, you're doing this, doing that, and you're tiptoeing around me, not vocalizing things around me. So what is the issue? And she expressed herself, and I think that she did a good job of expressing her fault in the past and wanting to move forward. Great apology. And now it's up to old boy to either accept or deny it. And I think that it was a good example of how you can't just treat people however you want and then the next time be nice to them and everything's all cool. That is very toxic, okay? And super, super common, unfortunately. So that was a really good portrayal of like somebody being like, yo, I don't like you. Like, we don't get along. You know that. So what are you doing? What is your angle? I am curious to know what you guys feel about the whole Issa, Condola, Lawrence thing now that we've a little bit more deep into it. Do you feel like Lawrence should not have hit up Issa? Do you feel like Condola shouldn't have mentioned to Lawrence that they talked about him? What do you think? Do you think that Issa should not have allowed Lawrence to kind of dictate how she talks to her new friend? Questions. I don't know. So let's get into the conversation that Issa and Molly had while they was hiking. This kind of ties into what I mentioned earlier about when you're friends with somebody for so long, you tend to be a little bit more harsh and more crass and have no filter with them. But you also can be very hurtful to them, and your best friend and your close friend and can really break your heart sometimes. And I've done the breaking and I've been broken. So I understand, like, you can say things to somebody that you don't mean for it to be negative or be hurtful, but it is very hurtful, and vice versa. So Issa said to Molly, ain't you tired or whatever? I'm tired. And I'm like, wait, pump the brakes. I'm tired of Molly too, but wait. It's a little bit harsh, Issa. It's a little bit harsh. I was like, damn, that's not nice. Like, you gotta be nice to your friends, okay? Molly's like a wounded bird, okay? She's like a wounded animal, literally just so affected by everything. You can't talk to her like that's not nice. And you know what happens is then Molly felt closed off and she felt the need to lie. Listen, why am I lying to my best friend? Like, why are you lying to your friends? Like, I feel like when you're at a place in life that you're lying to your girlfriends, reevaluate it. Because it's like the most asinine thing to do. What is she lying about that for? I don't even really get the angle for that. I don't even get her point for that. That could have been a point to say, no, you know what? Andrew did see my point and he did feel like he was being closed off. So actually, I wasn't being XYZ and I had a point. Let's discuss. Like, it could have been a moment to kind of rectify all of the back and forth drama they've been doing, like every episode being like saying like jabs at each other. Because last episode, Molly was very rude to Issa. I don't know if Issa was intentionally rude back to her this episode or if it was just like a moment of her just being like, bro, I'm tired of your shit. Like, I be having a good time with Condola. She got no drama in her life. Like, I don't know what her, you know, I don't get it. I don't know why. I don't know. But what did you guys think about that? I felt like Molly shouldn't have lied. And I felt like Issa was very, very harsh on top of that mountain. Even though I do think there was truth to what Issa said, you still have to hear your friends out and hear their pains and their whatever out before you choose to like brush them off to being ridiculous, you know? Even though I might feel like Molly is ridiculous, I get, you know, I get her and which comes from with all of her ridiculousness. You know, y'all feel me? You get me? I see the flaws and the faults literally on both sides at the time of the whole hiking situation. So then we talk about TSA Bay. So we find out that TSA Bay got 2 kids and 1 on the way. Ma'am. Ma'am. Yikes. 1 on the way. And if it wasn't for modern medicine, it might have been 2 on the way, thanks to Issa and the condom doing what it did. But modern medicine is a blessing, so thankfully that ain't gonna happen. That was hilarious, and TSA Bay has been a hilarious addition to the show. I wonder if he is completely gone or not. We'll have to just find out. I'm still waiting for Nathan to come back. That's my one true wish. How you gonna have Nathan best friend / roommate in the show and we can't even get a glimpse of Nathan? I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. The soundtrack for this episode was fire. The soundtrack is always so good. I just love it so much. And that's pretty much all I have to say about this week's episode. Let me know down below how y'all was feeling about it. It was a pretty chill, pretty low-key episode, but it did dive deeper into the whole friendship thing, into the relationship thing, into all sides of communication and on all fronts. So let me know what y'all felt about it. I enjoyed it. I always enjoy Insecure. I never not enjoy Insecure. Hope that you guys enjoyed this review recap situation. If you made it all the way to the end of the video and you have not joined the KandidKinks family by subscribing, click on that bell and giving the video a thumbs up. I'm not quite sure what the disconnect is. I mean, we had a good time tonight. Like, right? I think so. I feel like we did. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.